Okay, so this video is going to show you how to get a picture into your Onshape drawing. The first thing I would mention here is you can just put the picture in first, but one thing I might suggest is starting off with some sort of a background. Maybe it's just something like a square. Maybe I wanted to put in a 2x2 square, and then I'm going to put my picture on that. That's going to give you something to build off of, but that's really going to depend on your design. I'm just going to do this for demonstration purposes here. So I'm going to make a little 1/8 inch thick 2x2 square, and we'll put our sketch right on top of that. The next thing you're going to need is a sketch. So you can go to Google, you can find whatever you want. One thing I would suggest adding is clip art. The nice thing about clip art is a simplified version of your sketch, and so it's not going to be too crazy to actually make that work. Keep it fairly simple though. Maybe I even want something like this. That's a little bit complicated, but I bet I could get the basic overall outline of that. Lots of different options here. I'm actually going to go with this. I'm going to take a simple basketball design here. We'll just go with, I don't know. Let's go with that one. And we'll save it somewhere on our computer, either in the downloads folder or something like that. Make sure you know what the name is. Go back to Onshape. And what you need to do first is import. You click on the plus sign and click import, and it's going to give you the options. So find that folder, find where you put it. There's the one I just did. And open that up. It'll import right in there, and it'll actually show up right at the bottom here. You can, of course, rename it just like ever. And then when you go back to your part studio, now you can start a new sketch right on top of that, or just the first time ever. And then right here is where you import an image. So you're going to want to insert image. It's going to bring up your options. So I'm going to select the basketball, and then you're going to draw a rectangle. As far as I know, it does not let you change the aspect ratio on these at all, but it does let you change the size overall and move it around. You can add dimensions to it. So if you wanted a certain size, you can do that. And you can dimension, for example, like how far it is from points and things too. But get it where you want it. And then that's how you put a picture in. Now, something to know here, you can't just extrude a picture. Nothing will happen there if you do that. What you would need to do first is go back into your sketch and trace it out. I like tracing it out with the spline tool. What that lets you do is you just kind of zoom in here and place points everywhere along there. And as you go, you just keep placing those points, and it gets better and better at following your curve as you go. Obviously, if you have things that are definitely circles or definitely rectangles, you can use those tools instead. That will save you quite a bit of time over doing this, but this will work for any shape. Literally anything that you can bring in, you can use the spline tool to trace it. Remember, if you want to extrude something, it's got to be a closed-in loop. You cannot just have open things going on here. So we got to close it in. But also remember, if you're making something that's fairly small rather than giant, it isn't going to make a big difference if you're not perfect. When you get to the end, just double click and you will have closed in your spline. You can also go back and drag these points around if you need them to match just a little bit better. That's pretty doable. But like I said, make sure that they actually are closed in. And then you'd also want to go ahead, probably if you were going to try to extrude these lines, you'd also want to go in and trace the inside of those like this. You're probably going to want to do that as separate splines because it's going to try to really curve off the corners of those. So spline, 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 get to a corner, double click, and then start a new one until you close it back off. And just make sure you connect them at the end. There you go. So now once I'm done with my sketch, I can actually go in, and if I wanted to extrude that part of my sketch, I could click on that and I could do whatever I wanted to with it. I could remove that from my shape, and I'd have the start of my basketball. Obviously, you'd have to do quite a bit more to actually get that basketball shape in there. You don't have to go all the way through. You can just cut into like half of it, or you could grab the lines and bring those out away. Lots of different options there, but that's how you'd take an image and kind of end up with something that's usable on Onshape.